with new technologies, all new brands of industry from defense to entertainment stem from fundamental research. What is fundamental? The most basic of important parts of something. Whatever field you take in the world, in any corner of the world, is the result of scientific technologies. So they start with brands of industry. Which brands of industry? Defense to entertainment, STEM, give birth from fundamental research. Among past examples are, which are the examples that you can take? Antibiotics, you can't live without them now. Electronics, biotechnology, synthetic, the green revolution, and genetic forensic diagnosis. What is forensic? Forensic is a scientific method of finding out about a crime. Forensic is such an important part of any crime. You can make out if the person died with suicide or it was a murder, right? Absolutely, we can make out anything out of forensic. So that is, everything is research, everything is scientific, everything is done by a scientist. To name just a few. These are just a few. There are loads and loads of fields where a scientist is important. Now I have made this for you again to make it easy. Why are scientists called practical people of the world? Because all new technologies are done by them. All new brands of industries like defense to entertainment, everything stems from them. Medicines, electronics, synthetic fibers, modes of transport, anything you say, there is science involved. And green revolution. Science is involved in every part of the world. And now, only the basic research could give us new sources of energy, new mineral deposits and efficient defense from terrorism, cure from cancer, new forms of transportation. So I have collaborated all this and given you in points, everything, right? So you remember those points and elaborate them in your exam if you want to. But just to tell you, it's so beautiful, isn't it, what all science has given us? It just doesn't stop. The things don't stop. It's like new sources of energy, new mineral deposits, efficient defense, terror from terrorism, cure from cancer, new forms of transportation, which keeps increasing, to mind you, to say that it keeps increasing from day to day. People trained in theoretical physics are headhunted by financial institutions. So people who have the theory in physics are headhunted, means an act to find people with right skills or experience for a particular job. They are headhunted. They are caught with their head and put into jobs. The people, big financial institutions are looking for those kind of people. Those trained in frontiers of biological research become founders and directors in the pharmaceutical countries. So they are pharmaceutical industries. So basically physics is main. Financial institutions are looking for them. Biology, they are directors of pharmaceutical industries. So knowledge of basic science will give you a head start in whatever career you choose. So a basics of science, if you just learn, in school, even if you do 11th, 12th, or even if you do BSc, it will give you a head start to any career that you want to do. Science is so beautiful. Okay, we saw various fields, and what do? It is commonly recognized that the very survival of our civilization is threatened by natural and man-made disasters. Among them are earthquakes. Our entire life is threatened by natural and man-made disasters. So like earthquakes, self-inflicted disasters, like what is self-inflicted? To cause pain or problem for oneself. We do it ourselves. Like self-inflicted destruction of mega cities, big cities, environmental catastrophes, economic and social crisis. It is seen that these are the things that are destructing our mankind. Today, a massive release of radioactivity from a nuclear waste disposal, an earthquake in the middle of a megalopolis, an outburst of mass violence, or any other global disaster can cause up to 1 million of casualties. These things can cause so many people to die. Casualties means so many people die. In what? Maybe, how? Radioactivity, the rays which rise up from the nuclear weapons, the nuclear waste disposal, when a nuclear weapon is burst, the waste, with that, the rays that arise, it can give you so many breathing problems. earthquake in the middle of a country, if there's a small earthquake also with low frequency, even with that you can have so many casualties. An outburst of mass violence, suddenly you've seen protests and violence, with that so many casualties happen, so many people die. Okay, render large part of our world inhabitable and trigger global economic depression. It triggers means it makes something happen very quickly, something triggered, something happened very quickly. What it triggers? Global economic depression. So the entire economy gets disturbed with so many negative things happening around you. Everything from government to political to economical to financial, everything gets disturbed in this process. Or a war in a hot region. Such dangers keep growing, although trillions of dollars are spent to contain them by all known techniques. Trillions is the number this, 1 lakh crore. Imagine this much of amount of money is spent just to control these things so that we don't have casualties with lot of brilliant technologies. The hope and the responsibility for breaking the stalemate rest not only on the money but on an intellectual resources. Now, stalemate is a situation in which it seems impossible to come into an agreement or a disagreement. It's like, you don't know whether you're going correctly or not. So it does not depend only on the money. If you have a lot of money also, taking these kind of decisions is very difficult. It also depends on intellectual resources. Though the money is more popular, according to the French proverb, now which is the proverb? Nobody is satisfied with his wealth. Everybody is satisfied with his wisdom. Only the basic research can create a springboard for developing new disaster preparedness in industry. Springboard is something that helps one to start doing something. Only a basic research can create. Okay, basic research can create a base for developing new disaster preparedness industry. So you are prepared that if this kind of disaster happens, we are supposed to do this. Basic research also, if you keep, it's enough, more than enough. Ours is the time of contest over issues not completely understood. This was said by McGeorge Bundy. Who was McGeorge? He was United States National Security Advisor, USNSA, to presidents. Which presidents? John F. Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson. So he was the advisor of John F. Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson. What did he say? He says, ours is the time of contest over issues not completely understood. There are some issues that are not even important. And what we do? We fight over it. We have a competition. We have a contest of that. Who is above whom? So that's what our time is all about. Scientific research is an exciting venture. Venture is a new activity that involves risk into the great unknown and the token of humankind's survival. It is the scientists with their tools that are up to the challenge and can ensure that we all safely move with the time. The scientists and their hard work and contribution is the only hope that takes us ahead in the time with well-being, with profits, with safety. Okay. Finally, I have to remind you that science is not the beginning and not the end either. You can't say there is an end to this much of science that I can talk about. Or where did I begin from? There is no end to it. There is no beginning to it. It is limitless. It is without any boundary. However, if humanly used, science is their indispensable guardian and caretaker. But if you use it properly, it is indispensable. That means very useful and necessary. I'll give you a small example. Now you are not feeling well. You're not feeling too good, or maybe your father is not feeling good. What does he say? No, I am not going to take any medicines. Nature is there. I'm going to get cured. I'm going to be fine. My body will fight. My immunity is strong. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And he keeps saying that for so many days. From days, it's become weeks to months. Your father is not well. Will you not take him to a doctor still? Or will you keep him in the house to suffer? You will have to take him to the doctor after some time. Science has to come in. So if you use it properly, is the only thing that it will give it back to you. Science can be your guardian and your caretaker if you use it carefully, if you use it properly, if you use it efficiently. Alright. So let's start with the question answers now. Long chapter but a beautiful chapter. Don't forget. Now I'm thinking you are thinking, what do I take, science or commerce? Should I study bio or physics? Anything that you like, anything that your heart craves for. Okay. So question 1 in your textbook, page number 164. If you are so clever, why are you so poor? The professional addressed as you in the statement above refers more than to others to a. Okay, we need to fill this. The answer can be from one of these. Is it a scientist or a lawyer or a doctor or a businessman? It is talking about a scientist. Yes, we are talking about the scientist. The B part of it, justify your choice in the above question. Why is it your choice? In the very next line, the author wonders why some choose to be scientists even though other professionals like lawyers, doctors and businessmen earn much more money. Now read the paragraphs 1 and 2. You might want to read it again carefully and fill in the blanks in the columns below. I have filled it for you. We need to fill the professionals are here, the vocation is here, the field of activity and the reward, what reward they get. So the answer is, we are talking about a writer. So he writes, right? A scientist experiments, a lawyer argues. Now which activity? A writer goes into literature, scientist goes into science and a lawyer goes into law, which is the legal system. He needs to learn all that. What does a writer get? A reward? Appreciation. What does a scientist get? Joy of discovery, freedom, camaraderie and independence. And what does a lawyer get? Money, and loads of money. A few words are given below. Some of them are related to the field of business and some to the field of science. Maybe a couple of them are related to both. Read and discuss and fill them in columns A, B and C respectively. These are the words given. You can read it. We will have to classify them in the field of science or the field of business. So the answer is this. You can pause the video and take the answers and write it in your notebook. So in the field of science, there is rational thinking, exploring nature, discovery, research and universality. In the field of business, there is wealth, profit and loss, advertisement, commerce, playing to popular sentiments. And in both, there is friendship and exploitation of nature. The writer says, I found myself in Geneva. It expresses more than anything else. The writers choose the right option and fill in the blank. So he was surprised that he found himself in Geneva. A few statements are given below. Read them and say which of them are true or false according to the text. Okay, so the first one is, the war was going between the US and the USSR when Geneva meeting was called. Is it true or false? So let's see the answer. Yes, it is true. Everyone lived under the fear of annihilation by nuclear weapons. True? Yes, everyone was scared. In a nuclear war, the first who strikes will be the survivor. Is it true? No, the first who strikes is not the survivor, because in 20 minutes, just before the rocket went up, another rocket came down and everything was over. The three superpowers were willing to put a ban on nuclear weapon. Yes, they were willing to put a ban. Earth tremors are caused by two factors. One is the earthquake. Now, that is natural. What is the other factor? Nuclear explosion, man-made. Which of the following qualities helped the scientists to come up with a solution to the problem? Which of them did not come up with the solution? Right or wrong? I have already done it. Assessment, yes. Self-praise, no. Popularity, no. Experience, absolutely yes. Self-discipline, no. Respect for evidence, yes. Normal life, take all this into consideration to come up to any solution. Okay? What was the important decision that the politicians took before Geneva summit? What was the important decision? The decision to ban nuclear weapons, nuclear test ban. Immersion in science does not go with practical sense. What does this suggest? Foolishness of scientists, absent-mindedness of scientists, that scientists do not bother about the results of their work. Absent-mindedness of the scientists, okay? It sometimes does not go with practical sense. You can remember the example of a mathematician going with different shoes. With whose help can the world be ready with preparedness to face the challenge that the natural calamities posed? A scientist, a meteorologist, to be precise, okay, we will be ready for the calamities when an earthquake is just about to come, when a volcano is just about to burst, the winds, the sea, the hurricanes, the landslides, everything. Who takes care of that? The meteorologist, okay? At least they aware us, okay, the tsunami is going to come. You remember, so many tsunamis have come in the recent past. So at least if we know there is tsunami somewhere, we expect heavy rainfall here. So we will be safe inside our houses, we will protect ourselves. Okay, so scientists are saving us from so many things. Write the names of at least 3 subjects that come under the category of basic science. So those are physics, chemistry and biology. Who can best ensure our safety in the world? Absolutely, scientists. Pursuit of science is an exciting adventure. Do you agree? Can you compare this with other types of adventures like pursuit of sports? Okay, yes. Everybody could agree that the pursuit of science is really an exciting adventure. When compared to other types of adventure like sports or art or music, whatever may be the field, science needs determination, perseverance and hard work. In all the fields, especially in the science field, the major reward comes from the discovery itself, when they discover something, okay? Which sentences in the text suggest that the author was involved more in theoretical research than in its application to warcraft? I enjoyed the mathematical challenge. I did not give much thought to how it connects with real life. This is the example. A paradox may refer to a person, a thing or a situation that has 2 opposite features and therefore seems strange. In the light of this definition, how is mad a paradox? So yes, really, mad was a paradox. Here are the 2 opposite features. This was, what was the first feature? The agreed nations who had the nuclear powers signed to stop the test of the nuclear weapons, and the other. Which was the other? Other was, what if any of the nations had violated the agreement? So there are 2 facts under one. MAD had 2 things. What if we go with the agreement, and what if someone violates it? So that's a paradox. What was the problem that the nuclear powers had faced? Was it a violation of the agreement, or was it the detection of violation? So the nuclear powers had to free both the problems. All nations were not ready to believe the other nations. They had the threat if any country could violate, and if they violate, how could it be detected? How will you know that they are violating? Why were the technical experts summoned by the 3 superpowers? Why did they need a technical expert? Kelly Burrock and other technical experts were summoned by the 3 superpowers to Geneva to discuss the problem of nuclear weapons. Since the tremor caused by an earthquake was the same as the tremor caused by a nuclear explosion, if countries which signed the treaty violated the terms, it would be difficult to know the violation. How will you know that that's an earthquake or it's a nuclear weapon? Isn't it? So, the technical experts from the Soviet Union, United States and United Kingdom, 3 powers possessing nuclear weapons, met to come up with some suggestions and solve the problem. Which area did Kelly Burrock's theoretical knowledge have a direct application? How did his theory came to direct application? Kelly Burrock's theoretical knowledge had a direct application in the area of survival of the humankind. Iron Curtain is referred to as a barrier. It was outwardly difficult for the opposite sides of the Iron Curtain to find out the solution for the problem of violation of the agreement. What was the reason? Reasons were different, lots. First was different cultural backgrounds would make it difficult for the opposite sides of the Iron Curtain to find solutions for the problem of violation of the agreement. Okay, let's move to question 8. How are scientists able to work in spite of political and cultural differences? Now, every scientist is not belonging from the same culture, right, or from the same political background. So, how do they work together? The scientists are able to work in spite of political and cultural differences because they are able to work out a common language that is based on respect to hard evidence. Till they don't find something concrete about it, they will not give you the solution. Undisputable ranking only by expertise. After a long struggle, they would have come up to a certain level, and persistent self-criticism, improving their work day by day. Make a list of lessons that the writer learned at the Geneva Summit. So these are the things that he learned at the Geneva Summit. The first one is, the scientists were able to work out a common language based on respect to hard evidence, undisputable ranking by expertise only, and persistent self-criticism. About the scientists, the common qualities: there were people all over the world who thought and interacted the way he did. He was not alone. It was not necessary for him to feel lonely abroad. While there is science, there is hope of survival and well-being of everyone. All of you. Give a few examples which illustrate the writer's stand that scientists are the most practical people in the world. Now this is the most important question, children. Please remember this, memorize this. It's very important. So according to the author, the scientists are the most practical people in the world. This could be seen in new technologies. New technologies, underline, new brands of the industry which go from defense to entertainment. The scientists invent antibiotics, electronics, biotechnology, synthetic fibers, green revolution, and genetic forensic diagnosis. Very important. Everything that they discover comes to be in a practical purpose. Who will be headhunted by financial institutions and pharmaceutical industries, and why? People trained in theoretical physics are headhunted by financial institutions, and those trained in frontiers of biological research become founders and directors in the pharmaceutical industry for their knowledge of basic science. Question 12. Some statements are given below. Okay, are they true? Why or why not? So money is more important than intellectual resource. This is false. Money is not important. There is no assurance that money can buy everything. In fact, many problems are created by money. Isn't it? The more money you have, the more problems you have. But intellectual resource, of which science is the most significant, can improve the quality of life and human mankind. The second one, intellectual resources help the survival of mankind. Absolutely true. Why? It is because of the intellectual resources that we have combated many diseases. Though man is not the fittest amongst all the creations of God, he is able to ensure his safety against the other powerful creatures of nature because of this intellectual resources. And we are about to overcome COVID-19, the biggest discovery of intellectual resource. Basic research can help our survival by giving us new sources of energy and new mineral deposits. Basic research can also protect us against terrorism, isn't it? The third one is, basic research is a way of stalling disasters. Stalling, stopping, that is true. Meteorologists, they are also one section under scientists. There are a lot of people who come under the scientists. So meteorologicals are one of them. They study the ecological changes and forewarn people about natural disasters. Now, what are natural disasters? It can be earthquake, tsunami, storms, etc. People can be evacuated from the area posed with danger. So, if you know there is a danger somewhere, you can remove the people. You can get the people out, take them somewhere else. Google Maps, Google Weather. Imagine what all science has discovered. Isn't it amazing? Every day, you will know the weather of 3 days later also. Won't you know? By how? Google Weather. How do you know that? It is the discovery of science. Everything. It's so large and so big. So I'm feeling bad to finish this chapter because I still want to tell you so much about science, about how science is so beautiful and giving. It's spread its arms everywhere. So children, should we say that science is the hope of survival? Or should we say that hope of survival is because of science? Whatever said and done, it's the most important, and you can't live without that kind of field. So if you want to become a scientist, please go ahead. There are a lot of fields that you can choose from. There are a lot of things that you can do, but contribute a little bit towards the world. Anything you choose, any passion you choose, any field you choose, please remember to contribute to the society a little bit. With this, I sign out with this chapter. I'll see you soon with another chapter. Bye-bye. Kashish Chugh signing out.